Gutowski and Mr. Padilla. We have 3 members present. We need 7 more for a quorum. please come to order? Council will please come to order? Call the roll.
Burtson, Fuhrer, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Pacheco, Padilla, Ridley Thomas, Fornes, Wax, Walters, Furrow, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, let me point out that this is a meeting of the City Council on the 22nd day of November, the year 2000. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. The first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right, Mr. Padilla moves, Ms. Cindy Miskowski seconds. There's no objection, unanimous vote. Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
There's no objection, unanimous vote.
Mr. President, item number 9 is a commission appointment. It's the appointment of Gerald Lee to the City Employee Retirement System.
Gerald Lee, would you please come forward? What number 9 is it? Please be seated there. How are you? This is to the City Employment Retirement System. Terms in June 30th, 2005. 2005?
That sounds like a long time, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Okay. Mr. Fuhrer moves. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Gerald, you've been approved. Thank you very much for serving.
Thank you.
Forthwith on that.
Mr. President, there are a few continuation items for council today. Items number 4 and 5 are requests by Council District 5 to continue those matters till January 17th, 2001. It's 4 and 5.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote on 4 and 5.
Item number 6, the applicant has consented to a continuance with concurrence of Council District 11 to December 12th. Item number 6.
Ms. Miskowski, if there's no objections, unanimous vote.
Item 29, Council District 9 requested a continuance on this matter till November 29th.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote.
On the regular agenda, items number 1 through 3 and 7 and 8 are items noticed for public hearing.
Okay, we have no cards. Anybody want to be heard on 1, 2, 3, 7, and 8? Anybody want to be heard? Seeing none, the public hearing is will close except on 2 and 3, which we continue the public hearing, and the ordinance until December 13th. So we'll leave those, continue those. Item 1, 7, and 8, any specials? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Mr. President, items number 10 through 21 are items for which public hearings have been held. Items number 10 and 11 are ordinances.
We'll leave those on the desk. We expect 12. Any specials by council members? 10 through 21. Any specials? If not, prepare the roll on 12 through 21. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. Forthwith on 14.
And number 12 and 13, Mr. President.
And 12 and 13. And 17. I think we'll may move everything forthwith on today's agenda. We will not have a meeting Friday. Next item.
Items number 22 through 45 are items for which public hearings have not been held. Items 22 and through 26 are ordinances. Do you wish to hold those on the desk?
We'll leave those on the desk.
So items 27, 28, 30 through 45.
Which one, Joe? 28 is called special.
27.
27 is called special.
35.
Hello? Hello? Let me go with that again. 27, who called 27 special?
Mr. Padilla, or excuse me, Mr. Pacheco.
And 28 is called by Joel Wax. Who called 35 special?
Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Okay, we have... Okay, we have 30
It just depends on the
through
issue.
34, 36 through 45. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Those are approved. Next item.
Item number 47 on the continuation agenda is an item for which public hearing has not been held. Item 40
Not been held?
has not been held.
Okay. 47. Can we have your attention, please? We do have some people who want to be heard on 47. We have Norma Vega, Victor Nan, and Alex Sanchez. You want to be heard? Take the center microphone.
The public
You want to hear the
comment?
report first?
Yeah, I'd like to hear the report before the public comments so that you have something to hear. They can maybe have something to say about what they've heard.
Okay, let's, who do we have that's going to give the report?
I understood that Joe Gunn was here. I saw him this morning. Ah, there he is.
Joe?
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe the request was, what is the commission doing on a previous motion by Council Member Goldberg on Special Order Number 40? We had given that assignment to the Rampart Independent Panel. When it was time for us to make our report, that portion of the report was not ready yet. They anticipate that it'll be ready within the next month, so they were reluctant to go forward with an incomplete report. The commission is waiting for that report before they act on the suggestions and the recommendations of the council motion. I can tell you, though, that I have checked with the two attorneys who are in charge of that group and who are working forward, and they have told me that so far they have met with religious leaders, immigration rights organizations, organizations which work with gangs, community members, and city and federal law enforcement officers. So far, all of the people agree that, with a few exceptions, the Los Angeles Police Department has worked closely with the community without contacting Immigration and Naturalization Service. I have a partial list of some of the organizations that they have met with. They have met with the Salvadoran Center for Immigration Rights. They have met with the Salvadoran American Legal and Education Fund. They have met with the Coalition for Human Immigration Rights of LA. They have left about 20 messages for both MALDOF, the Mexican American Legal Education Defense Fund, and the Central American Resource Center. None of those messages were returned. This is disturbing to the group that's working on this, because the proponents of Proposition 187 have been kind of beating the door down to them to get their viewpoints known, and the group feels that it's imperative that the opposite side of the issue speak to them so that their input should be granted. I have talked to Mrs. Goldberg, and she has volunteered that her office will cooperate with the working group to try to get these groups to answer their messages and give an interview. The only negative comments so far about the Los Angeles Police Department seems to be with their dealings with street vendors and day laborers, and that is something that's going to be addressed in the report. There were many more interviews that were done in the community with community members. However, I was unable to contact, before this meeting, an attorney named Rolando Hidalgo, who has conducted most of these interviews. So in short, we anticipate that the report will be done within a month. We'll be coming back to the commission, and I will contact Ms. Goldberg's office to gain their cooperation in having the groups that have not returned our phone calls return our phone calls.
Hearing, and then we'll have, we have Norma Vega. Did you hide again? Okay, Norma Vega.
Good morning. I am from the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, and just to comment on what Mr. Gunn has said, I know that I have asked, and there has been, what I was told is that there has been sort of like this phone tag that's happening. I know that some messages have been returned, and so it's been going back and forth, but I will go back today and I will make sure that we get in contact or that somehow we get in communications. But I'm really glad to see that this is moving forward. I know it's taken a long time. It's sort of disappointing, but at the same time, we are glad and we're here and we're just willing to move forward. And again, we just want to reiterate the issue, Special Order 40. We think it is a concern, as a safety issue, public safety, because it is just not safe for our community as a city that we have a group of people that because of their immigration status feel they are too scared to report a crime. So I just hope that we can move forward, and I will go back today and make sure that we get in contact with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Victor Nans, and then Alex Sanchez. Did I pronounce it right?
It's Victor Narro, N-A-R-R-O. It's my handwriting, so okay. Yes, good morning. My name is Victor Narro. I'm the Workers' Rights Project Director for the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights of Los Angeles. And I want to speak to you in support of the motion by Councilmember Goldberg to really develop a good implementation policy of Special Order 40. Even today, I continue to receive calls from day laborers and street vendors. In spite of all the publicity about this issue, day laborers being asked for the Social Security numbers by police officers, being asked if they have work authorization. Street vendors are being told that they will be deported if they don't leave the area. This is the kind of issues that continue to happen every day, and I do receive these calls. I did meet with the independent panel. One criticism I have of the independent panel is I offered to really have them meet directly with the immigrants who have been victimized by this policy, and they have yet to really get down to that surface of the investigation. It's one thing talking to the community leaders, but you need to talk to the individuals that have been victimized by this policy. That's the one criticism I have. I'm still willing to have them meet. They can meet in my organization. I can have the individuals that I've helped file police complaints against LAPD. And so they can meet one-on-one. We'll provide the translation services, but they have never responded to me about the request. And I think that really, if you really want to get to the heart of the matter of this issue, you really need to talk to the people who have been victimized. One thing you have to understand is, even though the consent decree, we're optimistic that the consent decree has a provision in there that will investigate officers engaging in behavior that violates Special Order 40. But something that's in writing and how it's implemented is two different things, and that's why I think we really need to look hard at the review and implementation of Special Order 40. I do my own survey of LAPD officers who are out there on the streets with day laborers, and I ask them what the basic questions I ask them about Special Order 40 that they are not able to answer. So I think there's really a strong issue here about proper implementation of the special order. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Alex Sanchez.
My name is Alex Sanchez, and I work with an organization that's called Homies Unidos in gang prevention and intervention. I myself have become a victim of police officers abusing this Special Order 40. Back in January, I was stopped by officers with a complete intention of handing me over to immigration authorities in order to get me not to be testified in a crime. Or be an alibi for a youth. Now, the community where I live in has been, this law has been being broken years ago. We've noticed that police officers are are working directly with immigration. They use the crash unit to go into these neighborhoods and stop them, and the immigration, the vans will be behind them, and as soon as they will check them, they will turn them over to immigration authorities. Now, I spent 8 months of my life in jail because of this violation of these officers. Now, myself as a community member, I would like to see this proposal implemented And to have these officers reprimanded, and what will be their punishment for violating this law since they're committing crimes. They're abusing the law, and I just hope that the City Council will take a good look at the reports that are being made and all the complaints that have been filed against these officers. These officers are still working the beat. They just been transferred to other locations, and they are still coming over to this community where I work in and still threatening some of the youth. And I would love to see some action taken against these officers that are breaking the law. Thank you.
Okay, that's all the cards we have, so the public hearing is closed. Ms. Goldberg?
I'm disappointed that this will not be completed before I leave here, but I trust that my colleagues will look after this issue, because it fundamentally, regardless of one's views about the positive nature of immigration, I happen to hold that it's a very positive outcome for the city of Los Angeles that we have people here from not only Central and America and Mexico and Latin America, but also from Asia and Southeast Asia and the Pacific Islands and Eastern Europe and Africa. That's a positive for Los Angeles. But regardless of whether you believe that or not, all of us have to depend on everybody who sees a crime reporting it. All of us have to depend on everyone who witnesses a crime being willing to come forward and testify. And to whatever extent persons who are immigrants feel frightened that the immigration services will be used as a tool against them in one way or another if they come forward, all of us are jeopardized. Not just that individual, but each and every one of us. So I do hope this comes forward soon. I appreciate the interim report. I'm disappointed that it won't be done yet, but I hope that it is pursued diligently. We have MALDEF here. I will help you get in touch with Kerrison so that you will be able to have them complete that. I hope that, is it Mr. Sanchez? Mr. Sanchez's story gets followed up on as well, since that's a specific. And I thought that the idea that Idepska raised about having those folks actually meet people who've had personal specific experiences is a good one, and I would urge you to see if you can help make that happen.
I will follow up.
Thank you.
Hernandez?
Mr. Gunn, even though Ms. Goldberg might be leaving in 2 weeks, I'm still going to be here at least for another 220 days. 220, Mr. President. And you need to know my disappointment in the report you gave to the council today. And the reason I'm disappointed is because I read the LA Times. I read the newspaper, and the newspaper made some serious accusations as to how our department was working with the INS in regards to some arrest in the Rampart Division. And it talked about how there was actually a desk established in the Rampart Division for INS. And we need to have that investigated, because Special Order 40 did exist. And how that happened without staff brass knowing. And when I say brass, the people at Parker Center, the people who they're supposed to be reporting to before they report to INS, according to Special Rule 40, did not know about it. I expect a report on that. I do. I expect to find out why it is that LAPD is telling us in these chambers that they cannot talk to witnesses regarding the Perez allegations, because many of them have been deported by INS in cooperation with LAPD. And Special Order 40 existed. And so I think these are some real serious allegations, which is why we made it part of the consent decree. Now, I also think we got a real problem when we can't communicate with MALDEF, when we're playing phone tag. Something's going on. And I'm really wondering to what extent the seriousness of this matter is being considered. So I just want to point that out, because when the report comes back, I'm going to be looking at how the report addressed the accusations made in the newspaper. And I'm willing to call them accusations right now before I make them facts, because I want to hear the side of the police department. But I also need to understand how it is that potential witnesses to crimes, by whoever were being committed, how those witnesses ended up being deported, and us not being aware that we had a role in doing that. I think those are very important accusations. I think they should be reviewed, and that's why I was supporting that the consent decree have some kind of review as to our relationship with INS, but more important, that our report, our investigation include those items so that we could clearly understand whether we have a problem in our department in regards to Special Rule 40. We established it for a reason, I've been part of the review of Special Rule 40, and I've been satisfied by the fact that we have Special Rule 40 in place. The question has been, does that mean anything? In the neighborhoods where we're trying to get a relationship going between police and the citizens who live there and the issue of crime that exists in those communities. So please make sure those items are looked at, and when the report does come back, they're addressed so that I don't have to ask the same kinds of questions.
Mr. Pacheco?
Mr. President, colleagues, one of the most important things that we have to recognize is Special Order 40, and Mr. Gunn, I need you to help me with this, is that compliance with Special Order 40 is done through the arresting and booking process, where the computerized booking notifies INS of defendants or an arrestee's status. Now, do I have that correct in terms of how it's actually being complied with?
Well, Special Order 40 says that you cannot stop and investigate someone for the sole purpose of inquiring about him or her immigration status.
Right,
But it does not say that the federal authorities cannot be notified after an arrest has been made for some other offense.
Right, and what I'm asking and what I've been told by the police department is that the way they comply with that second portion is through utilizing the sheriff's department's arresting procedures, where the computer automatically notifies INS when they check the box that this is an immigrant, and that's how they have complied with Special Order 40.
It's my understanding that it takes place at the sheriff's department in their custodial facilities.
Okay. So if that's the standard that we have as a city developed as a policy for compliance, to me, anything outside those four corners would be a violation of Special Order 40 unless there's some prior written notification or prior authorization to break with policy. Because the policy, as I understand it, as I've been told by the police department, is to allow that mechanism to notify the INS. That would be how we're going to make sure we got that second component, because there are certain reasons why we have to comply with this federal, it's partially it's a federal mandate with some of the funding we get. So we comply with it in that mechanism. So the reports that we're hearing that are so egregious to us is that if we have a policy that shows that compliance is non-threatening to the immigrant community by doing it through the booking sheet, then everything else really offends that policy, and not only offends the policy, but really undermines our ability to prosecute crimes, because people aren't going to step forward. And so we're very interested, and Ms. Goldberg can rest assured that even in her absence, we're going to be pursuing this. We're very interested in knowing why there was anything beyond utilizing the booking sheet to comply with the notification aspects. The first component of Special Order 4, in terms of not stopping someone merely for their status, isn't answered when you talk about the harassment that was reported by Mr. Nato in terms of an officer wanting to move people along by using threats of INS. See, those don't fall in the same category, but we have to face that question and ask our officers, how are they using threats, regardless of which type, to move people along? Because we know that people, for example, and I know this is going to sound like a tangent, but we know that there are certain tactics that are being used against the homeless right now in downtown that are really questionable. And so we do have to get into tactics and how they relate to the homeless and to the immigrant community in terms of using the INS as a threat, which to us is very difficult to understand. So I anticipate your report will cover all these issues. We look forward to it. You're still under a lot of pressure from us to move it quickly, and when we get it, we'll discuss it thoroughly with not only the community, but to the department and the INS.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Gunn, I would also like to point out and/or request, as this report comes forward, that it's done with keeping in mind and in the context of knowing that throughout the history of Special Order 40, there has been great misunderstanding and misinterpretation from almost every angle about what Special Order 40 is. And I'm particularly sensitive to the fact that some people have interpreted Special Order 40 as impeding the implementation of justice and the delivery of justice and impedes law enforcement, when in fact the examples that we're hearing today are very good examples of how not going along with Special Order 40 and following its true intent can cause problems in prosecuting criminals, because we have removed potential witnesses of crimes who could help in the prosecution. So I think it's very important in the report to constantly, in any and every discussion of Special Order 40, to clarify what it does, what it's intended to do, and its good and purposeful intent, and to make sure that there are not misinterpretations, because it very clearly is there to protect the people of this city from inappropriate harassment and interference in the exercise of their civil liberties, and to allow law enforcement officers to do their job and to protect our communities. Thank you.
Okay, there's no one else wants to be heard, so what do we do? Just continue this item? How long do you want to continue?
The group that's working on this reports back that they should be done by the end of December.
The end of December? Well, why don't we just, you let us know when you want it back on the agenda.
Right, and keep in mind, Mr. President, the report will go to the commission first, who will then send it across the street to the council.
Okay.
Have this scheduled about, let's say, January 15th or whatever appropriate council day they're in, so that it does come back to council and not linger in commission. It's about
Okay,
January 15th.
you want to come back direct to the council?
A committee.
The committee? Okay, we'll continue approximately January 15th. What's the date?
Unfortunately, I don't have a calendar for next year, it appears.
The third council week meeting in January.
Okay.
We continue until the
January 16th.
17th, the 16th. We'll continue January 16th. Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Next item.
Item number 27, called special by Councilmember Pacheco.
We do have one person that wants to be heard on 27, and a public hearing has not been held. Sally Newbar. Sally?
Good morning, Mr. President and fellow council members. I was just wanting to stress how our committee, the Citizens Committee to Save Elysian Park, was very pleased that we have just received 17 beautiful new acres for Elysian Park, thanks to the good work of Proposition K. That particular acreage would be involved in serious damage by this proposed sewer line if the western alignment were chosen. And we feel that the environmental document has correctly identified the central line as being the environmentally superior and best alternative, and that's what they are recommending. And I just wanted to go on record as stating that the Citizens Committee to Save Elysian Park very much supports the middle alignment for this proposed sewer. Thank you.
Sally, thank you for saving Elysian Park. You've been wonderful. Okay, the next item. Any discussion on 27?
We're still on this. I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Ridley Thomas?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. The good news in this connection is we have an opportunity to implement a motion that was adopted by the council that said we would have what is essentially called smart sewers. There's a transmittal as a part of the file from the Director of Sanitation to the city engineer indicating that this is the first opportunity to make sure that we have fiber optics laid at the same time that the sewer is constructed. And I think it would be useful to have the council reaffirm that in the context of this particular action, since this is the first time we will do this. There has been some discussion as to the department's concerns about it in some respects. I think those have been ironed out, but it isn't a part of the transmittal today. So I want to make sure, pursuant to acceptance on the part of the committee who moved this forth, Public Works, that we effectively cause the fiber optics to be formally integrated into this particular project, and I would so move.
Okay, Mr. Pacheco?
I wanted to, is the staff here on this issue? All right. Can we bring up someone from the staff to talk about the fiber optics? Because I did want to publicly thank Councilmember Ridley Thomas for working with for not only first introducing the policy and working with my office to make this happen for our community on the east side and northeast. And I wanted to make sure that the staff was also recognized. Okay, who do we have from staff?
Jim Langley, Assistant Director, Bureau of Sanitation.
Adel Hash Khalil from Bureau of Sanitation, wastewater collection manager.
Okay, it was Mr. Langley?
Yes.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, that this sewer system not only is going to respect the Elysian Park, as was indicated by the speaker, but that we're going to have what many people have called smart sewers, with the conduits and the fiber optics as part of this whole package?
Right, that is being incorporated into the design right now. We're looking at, from a technical standpoint, fiber optic conduit, and there'll be 8 of these conduits, 2-inch diameter, and that will house the fiber optics. Primarily for communications and possibly other uses. This sewer will be in the ground at least 100 years of operation, so there will be other future uses.
Well, I just wanted to recognize my colleague, Councilmember Ridley Thomas, for incorporating this as a city policy in the department, for working to make it happen in the northeast and east side, because as these communities emerge, the telecommunications industry is a part of it, and we need to be part of the information age, and that we not have the basic digital divide basically continuing because of a lack of planning on our side. So I do want to commend the department and Councilmember Ridley Thomas for looking out for the whole city.
Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, I just wanted to take this opportunity to say that when this started, there was some consternation amongst the CD13 folks that this was going through an area that was less desirable than going through a more industrial area, which it is now going through. And I really want to just thank both the Bureau of Engineering and the Bureau of Sanitation for being responsive, for listening to the community, for hearing what they had to say, and for making what we believe is an appropriate change in the route and accepting that. The hearings were well attended. And I just think that we frequently stand up here and say to folks in your position, why don't you listen to the community and so forth. I think it's important for us to also say thank you when you do the process in a way that makes sense, and that really made a lot of people who were very concerned feel very much more relieved and to have their input accepted. And I think it's the best of all of the practices that we see around here. Thank you very much.
Anybody else want to be heard? If not, prepare the roll as amended. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 28, called special by Councilmember Wax.
Mr. Wax?
Could someone, before I speak, could someone explain all the details? Why we're having it, what they're going to do, how much they're going to get paid, how long the contract is for, whether it continues on after, keeps getting renewed. Give me the whole background first.
In this report, the city attorney's, Cecil Moore on behalf of the city attorney's office, Mark Burton, who's managing this project, is my left, also from our office, and the attorney who we're suggesting for this matter, Patty Glazier, is also here if you have any questions to be directed to her. With respect to this, the Department of Justice consent decree resulted in the filing of a federal case in which we anticipate a number of groups or individuals to attempt to intervene. This is a short-term project. This is not for the implementation of the Department of Justice consent decree. It's for a period we estimate to be approximately 6 months, wherein we expect to have contested in federal court a number of intervention motions. These motions are somewhat technical. It is somewhat esoteric area. It is one for a short-term period of time, and it is one which is most appropriately staffed by contract attorneys. Now, let me review with respect to contract attorneys how the police division is doing. We have, as you know, 2 cases being handled in part by contract lawyers, the Grobson case and the Tipton case. Those cases predated the police division. We also are asking for the first time in the over 2.5 years of our establishment for additional help with respect to this case. There is one other council report involving the Breen case, which will come before your body perhaps next week, in which we're asking for assistance in a specialized area. Prior to the police division being established, your outside counsel costs were approximately $5 million a year, I understand. There were $3 million budgeted this year. With this appropriation of $150,000 and the appropriation we're asking for, I hope next week, of $350,000, we will still have $1.8 million left in that fund. And so at 6 months into the fiscal year, we're well on target with respect to our projected $3 million outside counsel fees. If the city were to decline to fund these contract attorneys, I expect 2 results. First of all, I expect that we would not be able to effectively marshal the resources, particularly the experienced resources that Patty Glazier would bring to this team, to be able to dispose of these motions early in the litigation. If intervention is sought and it's successfully sought, it could result in complicating the litigation and delaying the implementation of the Department of Justice consent decree. Additionally, if we were to divert our attorneys from other cases to work on these motions, we would anticipate potential losses in those cases, potential lapses in discovery. It could jeopardize the city resources being placed at risk in that litigation. In short, if the council fails to appropriate this, it's my judgment, my belief, that we would be jeopardizing important city interest. With respect to the individual, Patty Glazier, she's a very well-known, experienced lawyer. In addition to a vast amount of litigation experience, she's also been the litigator most responsible for the MTA, dealing with the MTA consent decree, and she brings that professional history to us to work on this case. The city attorney's office strongly recommends this appropriation and the appointment of Ms. Glazier as our lead counsel. With respect to the hourly rate, there is a paragraph on the second page of your report, second paragraph of the second page of your report, that outlines the hourly rates, what Ms. Glazier's normal hourly rate is, and what she's offering to the city. And with respect to, I think that speaks for itself.
Prepare the rule. Oh, Ms. Stikowski.
Recommend approve it. I think this is just a communication, so I move we authorize the city attorney to enter into this legal service contract and to transfer the appropriate money.
Okay, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
9 ayes, 1 no.
That is approved. Next item.
Item number 35, called special by Councilmember Ridley Thomas.
We do have somebody to put in a card, so let's have the public hearing. Candido Mars.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members. Item 35 is something that we've been waiting for a long time. On February the 21st, I will celebrate 16 years of doing graffiti, 50 weeks out of the year. But you know what? At a point, you get tired of it. I remember not too long ago, we had a chance to take away driver's license from people that would tag along the freeways, but someone here said that they were probably having a bad day and that should be overlooked. Do you know that we have individuals that'll start basically on the corner of Tampa and Rinaldi, and then we'll go all the way Rinaldi down to Balboa, go all the way down Balboa, all the way to Ventura Boulevard. We'll then head up west, and then come around and just continually go over and over again. And you know why they do that? Because they don't fear anything. There's nothing worse than a tagger, and you might say that after 16 years, I'm a little upset about it and I've had enough of it. But we've got to do something about this. They have to pay the fine for that. But we spend, what, close to $2.5 million a year cleaning up graffiti. It's not enough.
Right now. Where the hell?
Thank you.
Thank you, Candido. Mark, you call it special? 35?
I did, Mr. President, and there's a sense in which we have not learned to restrain our propensities to criminalize certain kind of activity. And this is an extreme example of it in the sense that we are talking about not only making graffiti tagging a felony, but it would also then be counted in 3 strikes. So it is conceivable, and I'm prepared to be corrected if I'm wrong in this connection, that a person who is found guilty of graffiti tagging and the related activity could be faced with the most harsh penalty known to any of us in the state of California, as if that person had engaged in armed robbery or something of the sort. The consequence would be the same. Is that correct, or is that not correct, Mr. Karsh, as it relates to 3 strikes?
That has been a criticism of the aggregation theory. In the recommendation before you, Mr. Holden recommended sponsorship. However, he said as long as there is not going to be an adverse impact due to the 3 strikes law. That is, if you get an aggregation of graffiti offenses, thereby reaching a felony status, that felony status should not be counted as a 3rd strike against you.
But in the report, it doesn't stipulate that. Are you aware of that?
Well, it's in the report. It says aggregation under the right circumstances while avoiding the pitfalls of the 3 strikes law should be pursued. It's at the final paragraph of the report.
Well, Mr. Karsh, we need to look at this more carefully and make sure that it didn't pass when we attempted before, correct?
In 1998, that's
and
correct.
we stipulated that as long as 3 strikes was not applicable in that instance,
That's
correct?
Yes, sir.
And are we essentially transmitting the same sentiment that was attempted when we acted in 98?
Yes, but if you would like to amend this report at this time to make that clear, that's...
Well, I think that's
feasible.
fundamental
Yes.
to passage today, members of the council. I don't know that we wish to
It was
make
certainly
more
my intent.
egregious the circumstances in which someone may find him or herself. Is that what you are suggesting is consistent with the sentiment of the
Yes.
chair of IGR?
Yes, sir.
All right. I would so move.
Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, I am opposed to making any of this a felony, even without 3 strikes. People who commit graffiti crimes certainly need to be caught, certainly need to be prosecuted, certainly need to be punished. But let the punishment fit the crime. And the punishment fitting the crime is cleaning it off, paying for the damage. Those things are the way you punish people who do this. I am not a person who says, oh, these are just misguided youth. Most of them aren't even youth, at least in my area, and it's very serious. It's very serious stuff, but it is not behavior that is violent, even though it's ugly and awful, and we spend in my district an inordinate amount of time taking graffiti off. I don't mean to minimize this one bit, but to make it a felony alongside armed robbery, alongside assault, I just think that is just out of, the punishment is out of character with the crime. And even if it isn't a strike, I'm opposed to creating a felony out of what are dreadful acts that are against the community, should be prosecuted and punished, but the punishment should include removing the graffiti, paying the damages, and all of those other things that go along with misdemeanors. But I do not believe we need to add more felonies to the role where folks who are stupid, in my opinion, or idiotic, in my opinion, end up spending long jail time, where we might actually turn them into serious criminals instead of people who violate all of us with the graffiti. So I'm not talking about decriminalizing it, believe me. I've been fighting this all of my life, from where I used to teach to where I live. So I take it very seriously, but I do not believe we should create more felonies, even if they aren't strikes, and I urge a no vote.
Ms. Pacheco?
Mr. President, don't follow your chair, Ms. Goldberg. We're going to actually agree on this one.
Oh, God, the prosecutor and Goldberg.
Don't follow your chair. We agree.
Write this one down.
Let me tell you, there's only one place where the word felony would assist us, in my opinion. When we deal with juveniles, and you treat this as a misdemeanor, and the courts are not allowed to run misdemeanors in juvenile court consecutively. In other words, they all have to run concurrently. So if you have 24 cases of a person tagging, it's 1 6-month term. It undermines the ability to rehabilitate that minor if we want to send them to camp, or something that really deals with their home setting, or if we want to place that minor in a foster home and they only have 6 months available of exposure time for confinement. So there is a place where an extended confinement period would be useful, because we have camp and foster homes and different resources for minors. And I wholeheartedly agree with the analysis that we're really overdoing it when it comes to adults in this area, because from my focus, it's really about if we could do something with minors to get them, because graffiti is a symptom of something else, because it's an association with either a gang or a tagging crew, and people associate with gangs or tagging crews because that's a symptom of something else, and basically it's a breakdown in the home. So if there's a breakdown in the home, we have the secondary effects. So I oppose the motion. I don't think we should even go in this direction at this time. I think we should intelligently discuss with the legislature options for minors in terms of rehabilitation through a camp system, foster homes, because I know the limitation that keeping these crimes as misdemeanors imposes on that system. But at this point, I will not be supporting number 35. As much time as I spend, and anyone who has a gang problem or a tagging problem in their community, this is not really the cure for that problem. And I'm more focused on giving us options for how we can handle our minors and give them opportunities to get back on the right track through either foster care or the camp system once they are already part of this criminal activity. So I'm going to not support item 35 at this time.
It's scary, but it's true.
Thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, don't fall out of your chairs, because I actually disagree with the last previous speakers on this item. But I support the report that came out of committee, and I do support the amendment that Councilmember Ridley Thomas offered, because yes, to make this a good proposal, to make this a good piece of legislation in Sacramento, we need to address the issues of the 3 strikes and how this would fall into that for individuals that would be subject to it later on. But let me tell you, as someone, like my colleague mentioned, with communities in their district that have been impacted and hurt because of graffiti, I don't think that we can in good conscience continue over and over and over and over again test the patience and understanding of a community. We know that graffiti has a lot to do with some of the violent crimes and gang activity in our communities. We know that because sometimes graffiti is not just artwork. Sometimes graffiti is a way for messages to be sent and for communication to take place across rival gangs. A lot of times, unfortunately, and I think that's what Councilmember Burnton was pursuing with his initial effort, graffiti is a big part of blight. And from the city's standpoint, or any private property owner's standpoint, graffiti represents property damage and a financial burden that is imposed upon the city to clean up graffiti, or imposed upon the property owner who is in a daily battle painting graffiti over and over and over again on the wall of their front house, trying to combat this problem. We are trying other efforts to steer kids into more positive activity. We are trying other efforts to help families. But at the same time, it's, I believe, responsible for us to also have a swift and firm hand in making not a single count, that's not what we're saying here, but multiple counts over and over again. If a person is going to be involved in creating graffiti in a community over and over and over again over time, then yes, that should accrue into a more harsher penalty and more harsher consequences. So I rise in support of the item that has come out of committee and the amendment offered by Councilmember Ridley Thomas. Thank you.
We have Ms. Miskowski, Mrs. Chick, Mr. Holden, and Ms. Galanter who want to be heard, but I'm going to suspend this meeting, this agenda for a second while we take up the ordinances. We have ordinances, and then we have the 12 votes here. So we have ordinances on 2, 3, 10, 11, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Is that it?
10 through 11 and 22 through 26, correct.
Okay. Prepare the roll on the ordinances. Tabulate the vote. Tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
Those are approved forthwith on all those ordinances. Now we'll have forthwith on 26. Okay, what was the, I forthwith them all. Didn't you hear that? Now, what was the first name on there?
Miskowski.
Cindy?
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with a lot of the vein of the discussion, and that's why I seconded Councilmember Ridley Thomas's motion on amending this to make sure that if this were to succeed or if go forward in the legislature, that it not be considered a third strike felony. But I also agree that, and I think if you read the report, that one of the bills that was not successful, but I think might have been on the right target, was the bill by Senator Schiff, which said, let's create a higher misdemeanor penalty for multiple offenses and give the judges more flexibility to allow the punishment to fit the crime. I also agree with Mr. Pacheco that perhaps we should really create a distinction here, that the aggregate offenses, when found and found guilty, that perhaps I still think that the felony, non-third strike, but the felony for an adult makes sense. But I think that not a felony for a minor, because that's, as Mr. Pacheco said, some other indicators that are necessary, but still having the flexibility of the judge to impose higher penalty. I also want to thank Candido for coming down, because Candido told us what he has spent a lot of years doing, and that is cleaning the graffiti, cleaning the blight, cleaning our neighborhoods, and feeling the frustration out from the community that they're either, that as he believes, that the reason we are not better and stronger at enforcement is because enforcement is so weak in general when people are found guilty and responsible. So clearly we need to elevate this to an appropriate level, to an appropriate offense structure that gives the judges flexibility to deal with the matter. So I would move that we recommend support for the aggregate felony, not third strike, only for adults, and that we ask the legislature to seek stronger penalty and more appropriate enforcement with flexibility to the judges for aggregate graffiti penalty being found guilty for minors, and see if we can't blend a lot of the comments that are being made here today, but give the flexibility that's needed to the judges.
Thank you, Ms. Miskowski. Ms. Chick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think my colleague has just put forward a proposal that I can support. I was rising to to explain why I would be a no vote on the original proposal before us. Certainly, I want to see this city, I'd like to see the world free of graffiti. I think we should have absolutely zero tolerance of it. And part of that, of course, then goes to looking at what are the consequences when we catch someone in the act. One of my concerns about what is before us, colleagues, is that I think if we asked how many graffiti vandals are actually apprehended, arrested, and brought to trial, I think the number is extremely low. I don't know if anyone is here from LAPD who could accurately comment on that. And so while we're getting into this debate about what the consequences and the punishment should be once it's in court, I'm not sure that that's particularly where the effective efforts go, unfortunately. I think it's very difficult to catch graffiti vandals in the act. But Councilmember Miskowski, what you offered as an amendment, I think will be read back to us, but is saying, yes, we should look at having tougher penalties for repeated acts of graffiti vandalism, but not focus only on youth and not focus on the 3 strikes. Certainly, I think that putting our young people away as felons seals the fate that they're going to be extremely hardened and serious criminals when they come out. And I would like to explore all other options of corrective action, of appropriate consequence, of punishment short of that. So I think I'll support, as amended, that we need to examine more effective punishment. But are we asking for a report back on this? No, it's just going forward that way? Then maybe under separate cover, I'm going to ask for LAPD to let us know how often we're actually arresting suspects on these charges. Thank you.
Mr. Holden.
Mr. President, members, my concern was answered when I recommended an amendment to the proposed legislation that would not include it in the 3 strike. But you do have, as a matter of fact, law that if someone burglarizes your home, it's mandatory jail sentence. Use a gun and go to jail, burglarize a home, go to jail, destroy properties in that way, you go to jail. Fine. The fact of the matter is that, as already been noted over the years, that those taggers go back to the same piece of property over and over again. And what we have done by law is require the property owner to clean up that property, or we will cite them and clean it up and charge them for it. Now, come on, my friends. We have to send a message loud and clear that nobody likes graffiti except for the taggers to be able to identify their territory. And most of them are over the age of 18. Most of the gang members who are in charge of some of the taggers who are underage are over 18, career criminals, many of them. Now, I'm not going to stand here and support career criminals who tag and identify their neighborhood for the purpose of selling drugs. Some of them throw tennis shoes over the wire and say, this is my territory. And you all know that. So come on, this is one issue we can't play with, and at the same time, I have some reluctance and hesitancy for including kids in the criminal justice system who go out and put a little pencil mark on a building. That's a different situation altogether. And Ms. Miskowski's amendment, I'll abide by that. If you're over the age of 18, repeated offender over and over again, which many of them are, then that's what happens to you. Just in the Valley a few years ago, and I'm sure you heard about it, where an individual took it upon himself, and he did wrong, took the law in his own hand, and he shot a tagger. And people were so incensed and disliked Tiger so much, they let him go scot-free. You know, I had some problems with that because he took the law in his own hand. We can't let people do that and get away with it. But nevertheless, that's what happened. He had the sympathy and the support of the majority, substantial majority of the people in this county. Did you all forget that in the Valley? And if you did, I think you ought to remember it. Taggers are not friendly. They're not liked at all. Worst thing I hate other than the tiger is another one. They're all bad. And you can drive down the street trying to keep a neighborhood nice. How much money we spend a day for zero tolerance program? Every time the graffiti go up, the city taxpayers got to spend it to take it down. You get telephone calls. How often do we get that? And enough is enough. Put the fear of the devil in their heart. I won't say fear God. Put the fear of the devil in their hearts, and if they can understand that that's what they're doing, at devilish acts, then maybe they'll simmer down a little bit. I just think that we got to deal with it up front, and now is the best time.
Ms. Galanter? There's a motion to previous question. Prepare the roll.
I asked no.
Tabulate the vote.
No.
9 ayes, 3 noes.
That failed.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
Mr. Hernandez?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Members of the council, up front, I rise to support Councilmember Miskowski's amendment to the direction of the legislation. Sometimes I'm reminded of a parent who's so impatient of their child's behavior, they hit them. They basically don't know how to deal with the problem, and so they take drastic actions. And I think Councilmember Chick, in a very eloquent way, stated that we're basically going to be sending them to prison, where when they come out, they'll have even more problems. I know for a fact that it probably cost us more to send them to prison than it would cost us to send them to MIT. Our realities are we have to look at what our actions are about and take that into account. I have a picture here of the Pasadena freeway overpass, and they started to graffiti, a tagger did, and then he ended up writing, due to technical difficulties, he couldn't finish his work. And I guess he couldn't finish it because it was on a freeway overpass, and I thought that was funny every time I drove by and saw it. But this was not a dumb person who was trying to tag that freeway. And how we approach these issues, I think, is extremely important, because right now I take a lot of pride in knowing that graffiti is being cleaned up in my district, and knowing that many of the people who are working on those projects tend to be some of the people who used to be taggers. I also take a lot of pride in knowing that some of the young people who used to be taggers in my district are now working as part of Sony and their imaginary division, using their talents from a different perspective. It's trying to understand the frustrations of what makes someone a tagger, or what makes someone mark a wall, and why it is that you don't see that graffiti on houses unless it's a hate crime that we have to deal with. And I just, again, I wanted to kind of put some rhyme and reason into the conversation that was going on right now, because it's not an us versus them issue. It's an us issue. And I think that the approach of now Congressman Schiff's legislation makes a lot of sense. And it gives us an opportunity to deal with these issues. I don't appreciate graffiti any more than anybody else does. But I also need to understand why it's happening in a community, and why it happens more predominantly in more communities than it does in others. Why it is that people are taking the risk to do it in the places they do it. It makes no sense to me, and I have to practice the patience of understanding in order to deal with the real symptoms of a disease. So I just kind of wanted to bring that logic to the conversation, and I do support Councilmember Miskowski's approach, and we still have a problem we have to deal with. I just don't want to be that impatient parent and slap that kid for behavior I don't understand.
Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, I just wanted to caution, I guess, Mr. Holden, I just wanted to caution us against deciding policy based on what's popular, where it respects felonies and laws, because it has different times in this country's history been popular to do some pretty disastrous and dastardly things. And it is still popular in some cases to physically assault people because of their race, their gender, or their sexual orientation. So I think we cannot use that as a basis. I think that all I am arguing for is let the punishment fit the crime. And when people repeatedly do graffiti, they should repeatedly be required to pay higher and higher fines. They should be required to spend more and more hours removing graffiti. Those are punishments that fit the crime. I'm not saying that you treat a first offender like you treat a fifth offender, but I think if you start saying that what we're going to do is to put people in prison, then what we're saying is that eventually you're going to get to the situation where you're going to be letting out of an overcrowded prison a violent criminal in order to incarcerate someone who has repeatedly caused graffiti. I think that's backwards. And I'm not saying that there shouldn't be progressive consequences, but felonies have much different timelines in prison, and they end up, in my humble opinion, leading people into crime, not out of it. That's been the experience that I have observed, and I just think we should not make this a felony.
I'll amend it. Ms. Goldberg makes a good point, and with that, I would like to offer an amendment to the mayor's proposal, and that they will serve their time for repeated offenders, it's an aggregate, just like you said, in county jail, since it's not going to be a three-strike. So I would like to amend, Michael, that the maximum penalty, with regard to what it is, and I guess it can't be more than a year, shall be served in county jail. All right? Thank you.
Okay, we have amendments on this?
There's 3 amendments currently pending before you. The latest amendment is the Holden Goldberg amendment to serving time for repeated offenders be served in county jail.
Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved.
35B is a Ms. Cassie Chick motion regarding the amendment to look at the shift bill, higher penalties, and misdemeanor versus felony offenders regarding youth. I have a pretty sketchy, maybe the mover can move.
It was to focus support on the concept that was embodied in the shift bill, which allowed for higher misdemeanor penalties as appropriate, for more flexibility to the judges, and for, if there's any consideration of felony charges, that be only on for aggregate offenses, both the non-third strike consideration. We've now adopted Mr. Holden's motion that it be county jail served time, and also there's a third item to it.
That the felony apply only to adults?
And yes, that if there's to be any consideration of a felony, it only apply to adults, not juveniles.
I'm just really knowing everything.
Okay, why don't we divide it into two questions?
Okay, prepare the roll on the divided question.
Well, the first part I would like to is everything except the part that says make it a felony. And then I can support all that, giving the judges more discretion and higher misdemeanors. I have no problem with
Okay, prepare the roll on that. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Okay, now we have to make it a felony.
Only for adults.
It's a wobbler, but it's for adults.
Prepare the roll.
And non-third strike.
Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
7 ayes, 4 noes.
That failed.
No, we can
Next
hold
item.
it. We can hold that until tomorrow when Mr.
Yeah, whatever you want to do, Mr.
Sure, Mr.
Holden.
Bernstein comes.
If you get here at 11 o'clock, 11:30.
I can't make it. You know that.
Okay.
Well, that part we can hold on the table.
Was the traffic tough in the arena?
It was tough. You know, there was a shooting out there, you see. Some guy was tagging. He identifies.
Whose place?
Next item.
35A is a amending motion.
Until Tuesday, Mr. President, when Mr. Bernstein is here. It's his idea.
Okay. 35A is, you can bring it up again, Mr. Holden, if you're on the right side.
35A is a motion, Ridley Thomas Miskowski, to support if aggregation offenses not applied to 3 strikes provisions.
Okay, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
9 ayes, 2 noes.
That is approved, if we have the authority. Next item.
And item 35 as amended now.
35 as amended. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
7 ayes, 3 noes.
That failed. Okay, the next item?
That will show up on Tuesday's agenda.
Okay. Next item?
Item number 46 is a closed session item, so now is the time for public comment on non-agenda items.
Public comment? We have Milton Gray. You give us your last name, will you?
Good morning. My name is Milian Gabriel-Jesus, and you know me, I don't know why you don't pronounce. That means service of Jesus.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Whatever you say.
We have a problem in the city of Los Angeles. Number one, regarding transportation. I've been talking to you for a long time, almost 3 years and a half. Today, I'll try to pass and also at the same time is to appeal my case regarding transportation in the city of Los Angeles. Our first title we call UTI. The second title, CTDA, which is California Taxi Drivers. And I've been the victim of Bell Cab and the Yellow Cab company in the city of Los Angeles. And I have also here, I don't have any Xerox copy, but you can pass it, you can look. Professionally, I drove in the city of Los Angeles over 20 years. And also, I have the city seal with the Yellow Cab company, number 6102. It is not illegal, which DOT exercise the rule and the regulation, the constitution of the transportation is not respectful. And for your information, through the court, I win the case. I'm happy. But the city council should know you've been elected by the people. You should support the people freedom. I like American freedom that give me a chance to exercise. And I have also American dream to get what I want. My explanation. I am the victim of Bell Cab and the Yellow Cab company. Number two, all 10 taxi industries, they have second unit, they are abandoned, they are illegal, but they have been approved RFP. That is wrong. The city council should know. Number three, if you don't accept over 3,000 bandit taxi exist in the city of Los Angeles today, I'm not standing here to speak to you. Number four, concerning bandit problem in the city of Los Angeles, DOT and LAPD, they don't have enough budget to solve this problem once for all. To do believe, and I do believe, the city council have more power to empower a small minority business people to have our own taxi company so we can compete with other 10 taxi industry at any time. I enjoy the freedom of America than any country around the world. I have American dream based on the opportunity to choose and the service as long as I follow the Constitution. As long as a good service, as long as a good job, a better work, they should make more money and more service to the American people all the time. Thank you.
Candido Mars, talkative Candido.
Thank you, Mr. President. And first of all, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Again, my concern is I don't want to see anybody go to prison. No one here knows what it's like to go down to the state penitentiary and visit someone that committed a crime and see what can cause, what the changes that can take place in a young person when they're in prison. But you know what? We have people that are dying in our streets. We have children that are killed in our street because of graffiti. You'll say that's an exaggeration. That's not an exaggeration. We have community service. We had one in Venice, in Miss Galanter's area, that was killed. A fine gentleman. Graffiti was part of the issue. It was part of the issue. We had a gentleman killed last Easter who walked out. People were, taggers were tagging his wall, and he was shot. Does anybody remember that? Nobody remembers that, do they? I know sometimes I come across a little harsh, But when you do it every weekend, sometimes 50 weekends out of the week, you get a little upset about it. But let me ask you this, who on Friday is available to do graffiti? We'll be doing graffiti cleanup on Friday. Do I have any volunteers? Any volunteers? How about Saturday? We have some graffiti we need cleaned up on Saturday. Is there going to be any volunteers? Okay, maybe some of you are busy Friday and Saturday. How about Sunday? We're going to be cleaning up the graffiti in the parks. Any volunteers? Well, you tell me, sir, and we'll be there. But if you'd like, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Candido. That closes the public hearing. Next item.
Item number 46 is a closed session item. Do you wish to close the desk?
Yeah, would everybody leave the council chamber that's not involved with the executive session? In the meantime, we'll clean up the desk.
Motions for posting and referral.
Unanimous vote.
Council members request to be excused from council. Councilmember Bernstein requests to be excused on November 28th. This meets policy for personal business.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Chick requests to be excused on November 29th to leave at 10:30, December 12th to leave at 10:45, December 13th to leave at noon, and January 12th to leave at noon for city business and personal business. The desk is clear, so for item number 46.
Now we have an executive session, Ruth. I thought we were going to turn the executive session over to the mayor, and he was going to do it all. See, so how come the mayor doesn't get involved? Good luck, huh?
Item number 46 is before you. It's to authorize the city attorney to expend $146,335.52 and make a draft to the ACLU of Southern California in settlement.
Ten ayes.
Thank you.
The desk is clear.
We have a adjourning motion. Would everyone please stand? Let me point out that Paula MacArthur Flay passed away. She worked a number of years for the city of Los Angeles, worked for Howard Finn, she worked for Bob Ronca, and worked for Gloria Molina. When Gloria became a supervisor, she went to work for the county, and I'd ask we to adjourn in her memory.
Who is that?
Paula MacArthur Flay.
Oh, I'd like to second that also.
I'd also like to say.
My God.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd ask that we adjourn in memory of Charles Ruff. Charles Ruff was a special prosecutor on the Watergate Special Prosecution Force. He was Anita Hill's lawyer in the sexual harassment accusations, and he was, of course, the key defender in the impeachment proceedings. But Charles Ruff was a magnificent lawyer. Most Americans became familiar with him as the lawyer who was working from his wheelchair. He was teaching in Africa and contracted an illness in the 60s that led him to be wheelchair-bound, and yet he became one of the most prominent and effective lawyers in the country, and certainly in Washington, D.C.
Galanter.
I have two. First, on behalf of Mr. Padilla, I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Betty Fleming Monroy, who was born in Ecuador in July of 1932. She was the mother of Mr. Padilla's close friend, whom some others of you may know, Ricardo Monroy, the director of party services for the California Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah, I like that too.
Why don't we put us all on that?
Yeah.
And then on my own behalf, I'd like to ask that we adjourn in memory of David Missy, who was a longtime resident of Venice, who passed away last night of cancer. He was 48 years old, survived by his wife Eileen and his parents Larry and Joanne.
Be to my 23 years.
I would like to ask the council to adjourn in the memory of Julie Leap. She's the wife of Commander Mark Leap of LAPD, who's been with the department for over 31 years. She died on November 17th after a short bout with cancer at the age of 43 years old. She leaves an 8-year-old daughter and is also survived by Mark, her husband, her mother, Sally, father, Bob, 2 brothers, Bob and Greg, and 2 sisters, Elise and Stephanie.
All members.
All members. Mr. Wax?
Yes, too, Mr. President, I'd like the council to adjourn in the memory of Peter Pinto, who had worked at Reseda High School for many, many years and was an extraordinary woodworker. Is also the father of my nephew's wife, Justine, and I'll give the clerk the pertinent information. And also Betty DeMille, who was the founder and longtime president of the Northeast Valley Residents Association, and decorated and honored by so many organizations within the community, the police department, and others, and she'll be sorely missed.
I'll second that. Call the roll. The council is adjourned. Have a very good Thanksgiving. I'll see you Tuesday.
Thank you.
You are watching LA City View, Channel 35. Your city, your channel.